past weekend we beat the Hawkeyes down in Iowa, 19-15. It was a real wild duel. 5 upsets total between the two teams. Started off, Sam Brankill came out. He was a huge part of our win this weekend. Comes out, gets a pin for us at 125 pounds. It was a real exciting match. He puts Gilman on his back early, gets a 5 count, gives up a takedown right after that, and then again puts Gilman on his back a second time and settles in and gets the pin. So starts off on a really good note for Sam. That should be a really good start for him as far as building his confidence. It was a good win. It's the type of thing that we've seen from Sam down the room. He's wrestling some of the top level guys in our room. But to see him put it together out on the mat was really nice to get that win. Coming up next at 133 pounds, David Thorne loses a tough battle to Tony Ramos, who's one of the top guys at his weight class as well. Was in the match, doing some good things, just got to work on some basic defense and stuff for him, I think, just improving some small areas, but was a good match overall, but we'd like to have got the win there. 141 pounds was another upset. Chris Dardanes got beat by a 1-0 score. He'd been out a couple weeks. We put him in the lineup. He was, we thought, ready to go. I think the thing with Chris, he's got to be really working on getting his offense going earlier. You can tell he's such a good hand fighter that a lot of guys now are starting to just try to avoid contact with him. And so, majority of the match, Chris is kind of going forward and trying to, get a hold of his opponent. But it's something that Chris has had to deal with earlier this year at a number of different times. So he's really got to, get his offense going. I think get more attacks, regardless if he's not getting the contact that he wants from his opponents. And then 149 pounds, Nick wrestled a great match, comes out, gets a couple takedowns, really has a good ride on his opponent, and gets another win for us. 157 pounds was a match everyone's looking forward to. You had the returning national champion, St. John, and then Dylan Ness. And it was a really exciting match. Dylan comes out, scores the first takedown, and is really doing well. Almost scores a second takedown in the first period. And then later in the match, he's underneath. He's having a really hard time getting away from St. John. St. John's, tough on top, does a really good job of, riding the hips, and he drops the ankle. And it seemed like for a period there that Dylan wasn't able to get his offense going. But eventually Dylan gets to his feet, creates a scramble, does a really good job. He puts St. John on his back and settles in and gets the win for us. So that was another really big win and an upset in the dual meet. At 165 pounds, Danny Zilberg loses a tight match, 3-2, to a tough 65-pounder for Iowa, Nick Moore. And the thing with Danny, as we've been telling him a little bit here, is he just has to get his offense going. He nearly had a takedown near the end of the match and had his opportunity to win the duel, but he needs to start earlier. He's finishing strong, but we need to start earlier, and I think that would help him a ton. But a tight loss there by Danny Zilberg. And then moving to 174, another really exciting match. Everyone wanted to see Logan Storley and Evans match. It was unfortunate. Storley had a takedown in the first period. If you saw it, it was just kind of a potentially dangerous call that they stopped it on when Storley was finishing the takedown. And unfortunate for Logan, I think, in some ways. He scores that takedown, then it forces Evans to have to come back and kind of engage with him a little bit more. And so that's where that went. Evans dropped down Storley's leg there for the overtime win and during the second period, and really just kind of seemed to did a good effort of slowing Storley down. But Logan's very, very good at creating action and scrambling and stuff. And in the future, if he wrestles, Evans, it was kind of good to get in the situation to see how Evans was reacting on his ride and the things that he was doing, and hopefully Logan can adapt from that to get the win next time. But so there, Iowa comes back and gets an upset of their own. Moves at 184 pounds. Kevin Steinhaus, our senior, comes out. He gets a few takedowns. Wrestled really well. The Iowa wrestler did a good job as well. It was an 8-6 win for Kevin, and a nice win for us to keep us on track. Now it's coming down to the final 2 matches. We know we got to win one of these at least to seal the dual win for the Gophers, and it comes out. Scott Schiller, who's wrestling phenomenal, wrestles Nathan Burek for Iowa. They had a really tight match last year at the home duel here in Minneapolis, but Since then, Schiller really has, it seemed like, to widen the gap a little bit. He had a great match, scored some really good takedowns, get some near fall, and just really put out a great 7 minutes of effort out there, and wins by a 16-5 major decision. And then it goes to heavyweight. Tony and Telford have really battled, 4 or 5 times at least in their career, maybe more. And I know the last few times Tony's came up, and he's always got the win, but they've always been some really tight battles. A 2-1 score, 1-0 score, and this time it goes to overtime. Tony was a little bit flat-footed and gave up a takedown, and so we got beat there at heavyweight. I don't think again. I know Tony's had a couple losses here, but it's not that he's really got to do anything different on the other end. He's always been on the top side. He's always rolled the guys and kind of finishing his strong situation, and he had a really good ride on Telford. He nearly had his riding time in the third period. Telford did a good job, was able to get away, and that was kind of the difference. So Tony's just getting back to the drawing board here, and he's continuing to work on the things that he's great on. And for him, the big thing is just got to stay confident. I know he still believes 100% he wants to obtain his third national title this year, and that's his goal. But it's 1 week at a time. And so this weekend we have Indiana at home. Because of the Super Bowl on Sunday, we moved our duel up. It's at noon. It's been on all the schedules and stuff, I think, for quite a while, so everyone should know. But if you didn't, it's a little bit earlier than normal. So it's a noon duel against Indiana. A couple great matches. I know they're 157-pounders. The number 4 ranked guy in the country. He's ranked ahead of Dylan Ness. A real exciting wrestler. That should be a great match. Their heavyweight is one of the top heavyweights in the country. So again, Tony has another really tough matchup, and so it's another good opportunity for him to get back on the board and back in line on what he wants to accomplish. So with that, hope to see you guys on Sunday, and have a great week.